Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. We will be starting the presentation in just a couple of minutes, so please bear with us. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. Please bear with us. We will begin the presentation in 1 minute. All right, everyone, I think we can get everything started. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today. We really do appreciate it. Today, the Itopia team, along with a guest speaker from Google Cloud, will be discussing the top 8 tools you need to work from anywhere productively. On the call today, we have Alex Wagner, Product Marketing Manager, Alex Banyas, who is a Partnership Development Representative here at Itopia, as well as Brian Sonborn. He is Sales Manager for G Suite in the Eastern United States. So just from here, we can take a quick look at our agenda. We'll be discussing working from home and the new normal that we're seeing, the top 8 tools that you need to work from anywhere, enabling remote workers with Itopia, as well as finally question and answer. Feel free throughout the presentation to put any questions that you may have into the question and answer function on your screen, and we'll try and address those throughout the presentation. We're also going to have Brian be discussing some of the remote working productivity tools that Google Cloud has to offer. So let's get things started. First off, we're going to have Alex Wagner discussing the new normal that we're seeing across the globe today.
Thanks, Alex. So we'll get started here with talking about how businesses across the world are all beginning to instate work from home policies to address this new normal of working from anywhere, working from home, not being in the office as usual, for employees to conduct their jobs. And so, what we're here to do is to help uncover the best tools that we've seen personally that we've been using since the pandemic has started, to enable ourselves to work productively in our own homes. So we'd like to share some of those tools with you today. And beyond the traditional productivity software suites that you might think of, there's a lot of other tools, whether that's software or some physical things that you can have in your home office that can help you stay focused, efficient, and comfortable. So whether that's collaborative software suites like G Suite or ergonomic desk chairs, even handy nutritious snacks that we find that in between meetings are really helpful to have nearby. there's a lot to consider when setting up an ideal home working space. So we'll get right into it. Here are the top 8 tools that we've chosen to share with you about how your workforce can work from anywhere productively. So to get started, I'm going to hand it off to Alex Banyas, who will talk about the Herman Miller Sayl office chair.
Thank you, Alex. I appreciate it. Hello, everyone. Alex Banyas, Partner Development Rep here at Itopia. And, one of the reasons that I want to talk about the Herman Miller Sayl office chair is it is, a chair that I do not own, but I have had my eye on for years. But I wanted to put it on this list because I actually do know someone, actually my colleague James does own this chair, and it's all he talks about. When you're sitting at a desk for 8 hours a day, especially at home, comfort is key to efficiency. It has an ergonomic design, adjustable arm rests. You can really find the perfect comfort level to reduce back pain and increase productivity here at your home office. Now, like I mentioned, when you're in a home office environment, you don't have the opportunity to stretch your legs, walk around the office, visit other people's cubes, and you really have to figure out a way to increase energy, to increase productivity. And especially for us here at Itopia, as we're chasing down, new opportunities and new deals, it's very important that we all rise to the occasion. And that's why I got myself a VIVO adjustable desk. I find that, sitting all day, as they say, sitting is the new smoking. And this really helps me stay productive, stay on my feet, stay energetic, and really ready to tackle, what comes at us here at Itopia.
And so while working from home, it's really important to have a computing device. Here at Itopia, most team members have the HP Chromebook X360-12B. Now, this is a really great Chromebook because it's lightweight, portable. It has a touch screen. It has a tablet function as well where you can fold back the keyboard. And obviously it's a Chromebook. It runs on Google's lightweight, ultra secure, and fast Chrome OS. I couldn't recommend this computing device more. It's how I access all of the software as a service applications that I use every day. Very fast browsing capabilities, and overall pretty economical compared to, if you were to buy a Microsoft or Apple device. So this is a must-have when working from home or anywhere for that matter. Next, we're going to have Brian from Google Cloud discuss some of the collaborative remote working tools that they offer. So without further ado, Brian, you can take it over.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Alex. I'm learning something here too. The Herman Miller chair has been on my list. It's very comfortable. It is expensive, but everyone seems to love it that has it. So I wanted to just spend a few minutes talking with you today, and I also love my Chromebook as well. So thanks for the plug there. I've been using my Chromebook for 4 years, and it's really a great machine. Today, I want to spend some time talking to you about G Suite. So my name is Brian Sonneborn. I lead the G Suite account management team for the Eastern United States. I've been with Google, like I said, a little over 4 years, and can honestly say G Suite has really made my professional and personal life just much easier to manage. I think, when I joined Google, I had used G Suite just as a personal email account. We have over 2 billion users that use Gmail for a personal account. But I hadn't used it in the work setting, and it really has transformed the way I work. I'll never forget sitting in my first Google meeting and seeing the power of Google Docs and seeing all of these collaborators in real time being able to type at once. We didn't need to worry about version control. And in the midst of COVID-19 and everyone working from home, the power and ease of use for Google Meet has also been extremely helpful. And it's really helped Google and our customers stay productive during this unprecedented time. So we'd like to say Google is a better home for work. It really intelligently brings together the people, content, and projects to really make the most of your time. And then it integrates seamlessly with core elements of work like chat, email, voice and video calling, along with document collaboration and task management. I mentioned the personal use, right? I talked about over 2 billion Gmail users, and it's kind of an astounding number when you think about it. But we also have over 6 million businesses that have chosen Google as their partner for digital transformation and really are relying on us now more than ever to help navigate this current challenge. We're super proud of the breadth and depth of organizations that run their businesses on G Suite. It's established market leaders like Verizon and Airbus, all the way to digital natives like Spotify or Netflix, who have scaled and innovated with G Suite. We found that in this remote work environment, our customers have had a really easier time transitioning to this new normal because their employees, and I can speak as a Googler, we were already communicating and collaborating and using video conferencing, really part of our core DNA at Google, and collaborating in real time in G Suite. If you want to hop to the next slide, Alex. So why do businesses choose G Suite? Some of you may already be using G Suite today, some of you may not, but I really think that it boils down to folks wanting to transform the way that people are communicating, collaborating, and working together. And it really gives you meaningful change from what you may have previously been using in the past because it's extremely simple. I mentioned it's used by over 2 billion people, and the reason it's used by over 2 billion people largely is because it's really simple and easy to use. We have a consistent user experience across Gmail. Teams can work in parallel and move faster and really achieve more. We think it's really helpful. So we've taken our industry-leading artificial intelligence, whether it's Smart Reply, where we can try to recommend how to respond to maybe a typical response that you would have to somebody. It's a key component of all of our products, and you've seen artificial intelligence be built into really all of our tools within G Suite. And then we think it's super flexible. So from the beginning, G Suite was engineered to help teams collaborate from anywhere. And our teams really have, they've been accessible with just an internet connection since we started G Suite. You never need to be tied to an office. And we also have lots of third-party extensions, APIs, and developer tools, which can make it really easy for you to customize G Suite to fit your specific needs. So we don't want to lock you into something that you don't want or need. We truly think our relationship as a partnership, and we want you to be successful because of your use of G Suite. Heading to the next slide, I think, I want to just talk about Google Meet because it really has been, obviously, a lot of organizations are relying more heavily on video conference solutions, and we've actually turned on our advanced Meet functionality for customers or offered it free through the fall. And customers are really leveraging Google Meet for a myriad of reasons, whether it's one-on-one meetings, whether it's virtual all hands, whether it's engaging frontline workers through training or onboarding. We have healthcare people conducting telehealth or customers doing digital advisory services, banking, et cetera. So there are a lot of use cases. And that brings me to sort of my last slide here, which is we know that security is really at the forefront of everyone and every organization when they're looking for a partner. And of course, our products are secure. We started in the cloud. We run on the cloud. We fully understand security implications and powering your business in the cloud. And, we take it very seriously. Google, as a company, runs, we have a lot of products that are used by billions and billions of people that run on this infrastructure. And so we want your organizations to really be able to benefit from the protections that we've built for our own internal products every day. So we have the most robust global infrastructure, dedicated security professionals, and really they help drive and innovate Google to stay ahead of the curve while offering a really secure, reliable, and compliant environment that's also easy to manage. So in closing, that's kind of my spiel for G Suite, why I think it's useful. For more information, you can you can click on gsuite.google.com, or feel free to contact me directly. My email is here up on the screen, and I am more than happy to help you or put you in touch with a team member of mine who can assist you. So thank you very much to the Itopia team for inviting me, and I hope everyone is staying safe and healthy during these unprecedented times. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Brian. Really
Brian.
appreciate you taking the time to address our audience. And without any more delay, I will pass it back over to Alex B.
Thank you, Mr. Shapiro. Some people might know this about me, some might not, but I actually left the glitz and glamour of Hollywood and the entertainment industry for the bits and bytes of the technology industry. So one thing that I'm trying to take from my past to build into my present and future is the Lume Q video conferencing light. When you really think about it, COVID has forced us all back into our homes and doing business over the webcam. So we've really, we've done the equivalent of going back to standard definition. And with the Lume Q video conferencing light, you can take your meetings back into HD. You need every competitive advantage you can get in sales. And my friends find that with the Lume Q video conferencing light, you can have your customers feeling like they're getting their sales pitch from an Instagram model. So this is definitely high on my list of things to purchase next.
Thank you for that, Alex. Another thing to take into consideration when working from anywhere, this is a great transition from hearing a little bit more about Google Meet, but as headphones. I use the Sony wireless headphones, the WH-1000XM3. I actually have my pair right here. They're great in that they're noise canceling. You get excellent audio out of them. They have a built-in microphone so everyone can hear you nice and clear. And they also have built-in Google Assistant, enabling you to be able to interact with your devices through the headphones. Could not recommend more as far as headphones go. When you're on that video conference, you want to be able to hear as well as be able to be heard. And these Sony wireless headphones do exactly that. Finally, from my side, I'm going to talk about some healthy snacks. Always have a bag of these here with me. Almonds are a great, fast source of protein. You can eat them quickly while in between meetings. They have healthy fats that promote good brain function. I get mine from Trader Joe's. So whatever the snack may be, it's important to have something that's healthy, that keeps you sustained while working from home. It's really easy to forget to eat a meal when we're working remotely, and having something like almonds nearby is the ideal solution to that problem. And finally, Alex Wagner is going to talk a bit about virtual desktops and apps. And take it away, Alex Wagner.
Thank you, Alex Shapiro, and thank you, Alex Banyas and Brian. All those tools are fantastic, and our number one tool, we would be remiss without diving into Itopia, is Itopia on Google Cloud, enabling virtual desktops and apps. So, our team at Itopia, we do use G Suite all the time. It's our primary productivity suite. We're constantly in the docs, the sheets, the slides. Google Drive underpins all of our file system and how we share files. And we're always on Google Meet with different conference calls. But there are sometimes where there are apps that we need to use, Windows apps that are not on or available on our Chromebooks and are not, something that G Suite covers, although G Suite covers pretty much everything. So, we all have access to virtual desktops from our own internal deployment that we use with our own software. And, I'm going to show you that right now before I dive any further into, how Itopia works. I'm going to show you the end user experience of a virtual desktop delivered by Itopia on Google Cloud. So without further ado, let me share my screen. So this should be my entire screen. Alex, can you see it? I'm going to assume that he can see it, and I'm going to dive into my Windows desktop. So what I used here was an RD-client that is on my taskbar on my Chromebook. And when I click this, I am logged into my Windows desktop. So this is Windows 10 desktop experience. You can see that I have the Edge browser running here and a few other apps, Adobe Creative Cloud, Chrome, Notepad, Visual Studio Code. Really any apps that I want, I can provision onto this desktop. But my primary use case, since I mainly use G Suite, I don't need to use Microsoft Office or some of the other key Windows apps. But one that I do need to use is Microsoft Edge. And the reason why is when I want to check, I'm going to go to itopia.com. When I want to check how our website's performing on a different browser, on a different OS, it's really helpful for me to log into this virtual desktop, open up Edge, and see how our website is performing. Is everything structured properly? We're constantly making changes to our homepage, our product page, our partners page, success stories, whatever it may be. I need to make sure when we make changes to our site that it works on Chrome, Edge, Firefox, all those browsers. And on Chrome OS, MacBooks, iPhones, and Windows desktops. So when I can log into my virtual desktop and check this out, among other things, it's very helpful for me and very easy for me to make that happen. So when I want to come back to my Chrome experience, all I have to do is just minimize my Chromebook. It's back down in the taskbar. Now I'm back on this presentation screen. I can stop sharing my screen. And at this point, you should see, let's see if I end the screen share. The presentation should come back. Alex, can you see my presentation again?
It worked as planned.
Okay, great. So now we're back in my presentation, but that's how easy it is to just switch from Chrome OS to Windows OS with a virtual desktop. And that virtual desktop was, hosted on Google Cloud. That was not running locally on my machine. That was hosted in a data center, X amount of miles away. And so just briefly touching on pricing, depending on your organization size, the number of users, the applications you're using can really depend on how much computing power you need per user. So pricing can vary, but what we see is for an average use case of certain productivity apps, maybe between 100 to 200 users, maybe up to 500 users. Usually that kind of range can run you from $15 to $25 per user per month. And that's including Itopia licensing, Google Cloud consumption, that's the total price. And again, that can vary depending on your use case and exactly what your workforce is using in terms of apps. But that's a good ballpark for what you could expect. And, to check out how to, size up your use case and see what virtual desktops on Google Cloud could look like for your organization, you can go to itopia.com, or we're also on the Google Cloud Marketplace. So console.cloud.google.com will take you there. If it doesn't, you can also go into Google search and search Itopia Marketplace. That will pop it up. So that's how you can dive right into Itopia. But let me tell you a little bit more about really what our solution does. So for the end user, again, all they're going to do is a one-click login to their desktop or app, similar to what I just did, either via a unique URL. So this could be in the browser. You could do this in Chrome. So you could run your virtual desktop inside the browser or do it in an RDP client like I did from the taskbar of my Chromebook. And so what's happening is I'm taking my device, I'm logging into a VM in Google Cloud that's running Microsoft RDS, and that's all been provisioned by Itopia, which I'll explain in a bit. But Itopia has provisioned all of this, set this all up prior to you logging in. So all the end user needs to do is a one-click login, again, either via the browser or their RD client, directly into the desktop or app. So you could have a full Windows 10 desktop experience with all the apps that you need, or you can just stream one or a handful of apps independently. So you don't need the whole desktop if you don't want that. Moving on, how does an organization manage all of their users? What if all these users are located, now everyone's working from home, or remotely in different areas. How do you manage all of these workers, whether they're in multiple countries, anything, from one spot? Well, Itopia lets you do that from a single unified console in the browser. So there's nothing to download. There's no heavy technology stack to learn or unpack. There aren't multiple control panels to learn. This isn't Citrix or any of those other more complicated alternatives. This is just a very lightweight browser-based web app that you're loading in the browser, itopia.com, and a tier 1 sysadmin, a junior level IT administrator, can manage this entire global workforce just from that console. So you don't need to be a senior level engineer. You don't need all this extensive experience. Itopia's console is wizard-based, organized, intuitive. It's made for the modern workforce. Again, a tier 1 sysadmin can manage this entire deployment across multiple regions. So why Google Cloud? Well, we built Itopia for Google Cloud because we knew that Google Cloud had the best network. And so in terms of best network, what exactly does that mean? Well, for virtual desktops and apps, latency is incredibly important. So Google Cloud was built for, their network was built for the cloud. It's a cloud-first architecture and infrastructure. All their network, their fiber optic cables, and everything they've done to build that network was built with the cloud in mind and is wholly owned by Google. They're not renting out parts of their network from other providers. This is all their private network. And in doing so, they ensure, from a latency standpoint, from a security standpoint, that everything is top notch. So no matter where you're located across the globe, latency is low. There's always a data center very close to you that's going to ensure that your connection is fast, stable, consistent, and the experience that your workers need to feel comfortable with a virtual desktop, to feel like it's running locally on their machine. So Google Cloud allows us to deliver that experience. And then from a security standpoint, same thing. Google is a security-minded organization when it comes to hardware-level encryption, and a lot of the other tools they've built into their network to ensure data security and data protection. We know that they are second to none. And when it comes to virtual desktop deployments, where you're a very large majority, hopefully all of your workforce is using virtual desktops, they're sharing files, they're sharing sensitive corporate data. You want to make sure that's going over a network that is going to protect that data and that has security in mind. And that's Google Cloud. So that's why Itopia is built for Google Cloud. We knew that they were the best for desktop as a service workloads. And, that's why we're on there. So to wrap it all up, why is Itopia great for remote working? Well, of course, virtual desktops can be accessed from any device, anywhere, given Google Cloud's global network. But what else makes Itopia superior? Well, Itopia was built for speed. So what our platform actually is an automation and orchestration solution. That's what Itopia is doing. Itopia is leveraging Microsoft RDS to deliver virtual desktops and apps on Google Cloud. So what Itopia does is it automates the provisioning of the Microsoft RDS roles on VMs on Google Cloud's network. So the person who's setting up this environment doesn't need to understand or be a Microsoft RDS expert. They don't need to be coding or scripting or setting up anything manually. Itopia automates all of that and then orchestrates the VMs to work in concert with one another to deliver the virtual desktops and apps to all the workers that are provisioned in the deployment. So again, Itopia automates this process, which makes this incredibly fast. You can get up multi-regional deployment with hundreds of workers in hours, in minutes in some cases when it's a smaller deployment, but for the most part in hours. And it's incredibly simple to manage. As I mentioned, you don't need to be an expert on anything, whether it's Google Cloud, RDS, any sort of computing expertise. No, a tier 1 sysadmin can manage this. It's flexible. So if you have an existing Active Directory on-prem and you still need to, utilize that, we can create a trust to work with your on-prem AD in the cloud. So it can communicate with the cloud seamlessly. You don't need to create a new AD. But if you'd like to create a new one, we can also do that. So Itopia is very flexible with its options of how you set up your environment. And, if you can, imagine it, it can be done in Itopia. All Itopia is doing is giving you the power to customize things with automation. And it's efficient. So Itopia, like I said, is automating so many management tasks, so many manual processes, over 300 plus that we've counted are all automated by Itopia, making the entire operation incredibly efficient. And of course, given the cloud, you're scaling resources up and down on the fly. You're only paying for what you need. So if you need workers to be provisioned very quickly, you just took a new office and made it remote in another region, you can spin up all those workers on the fly very quickly. If you need to shut down those virtual desktops for whatever reason, maybe some workers are going back into the office and who knows, don't need their virtual desktops anymore. That's fine. You can shut those down immediately and you're no longer paying for that consumption. So whether you're scaling up and down, that can all be done from the Itopia console, and it can all be automated. It can be set on a schedule. It can also be set to dynamically adjust based on when users are logging in or logging off. So pretty much everything can be automated from a efficiency standpoint of the consumption of your deployment. And then lastly, of course, very secure. Itopia is orchestrating Google Cloud's VMs. So all of the security measures and compliances and regulations that apply to Google Cloud and how robust that is from a HIPAA perspective, or FERPA, or FINRA, or SOC 2, PCI, all those, they all apply to Itopia because Itopia is just an orchestration layer on top of a Google Cloud project. So, security is top notch. And of course, by nature of being a virtual desktop or app, a virtual session is removed from the local device. There's no data being stored on the local device. Everything can be locked down based on custom security policies that your organization can implement in the Itopia console. So the virtual desktop is completely locked down. Your workers have as much capability as you give them. And so security is always ensured with an Itopia deployment. And lastly, I know I've talked a lot, but I just want to say that leading enterprises and organizations across multiple industries all leverage Itopia today for their seamless remote productivity. So whether you're in healthcare, financial services, retail, manufacturing, software, no matter education, media, entertainment, pretty much across the board, Itopia can help put, whether it's your entire workforce or just a certain department of your team to help them with virtual desktops and have them be productive remotely. Itopia can help you do that. And with all that said, I'm going to pass it back to Alex Shapiro, who's going to wrap up the presentation and take us into Q&A.
Alex Wagner, Alex B, thank you so much for presenting today. We do have a couple of questions in our chat function. Before we begin that, I just want to thank everyone for taking the time to listen to us. As promised, all attendees will be receiving $500 of Google Cloud credit to get started quickly. You will be receiving an email tomorrow with instructions on how to access that. So we hope you enjoyed the presentation, found it informative, and we hope it helps you be more productive in your remote working endeavors. With that being said, most of these questions are going to be addressed to you, Alex Wagner. So to start things off, which RDP apps do you use on Chromebooks?
Yep, good question. So the RDP app that we use on Chromebooks is the standard RD client that you can get from the Chrome store. on your Chromebook. So nothing too different or unique out there. That's very readily accessible. I'm sure there are other custom clients that you can download, but that's the one we use, and it's incredibly easy to use and simple and fast. So it's just the RD client on Chrome OS. That's the one we use.
Great.
And we can always give you more information if you want to use a different client or on a different device. Please contact us and we can talk further about that. I see that there's another question, but Alex, could you help maybe just read them off and then I'll do my best to answer them.
Yeah, absolutely. The next question is dealing with Windows Server License and RDS. Is that included in the price that you quoted?
Got it. So the Windows Server Licenses is included because that's part of the VM cost structure of Google Cloud. So when you are getting a VM from Google Cloud with Compute Engine, the Windows Server License is built into that price. When it comes to RDS, you could bring that yourself to Google Cloud, to the deployment. If you don't have RDS licenses and you need to procure them outside of that, we can align you with a service partner that can help you procure those licenses very easily. And from what we've seen, they're usually, it depends, but they're usually around $4 to $5 per user per month. And if you're education or government, it can be much less. There can be certain deals that you can work out, but the RDS license was not in that price, but it's because a lot of companies do bring them to Google Cloud. So it really depends. Hope that answers the question.
Great. Moving on to the next question. How does our security compare to that of WVD?
Right. Good question. So WVD at a high level is basically the same thing as RDS. What they've done in Azure with WVD is they've combined a few RDS roles into one role, and that role is provided as a service from Azure. So instead of the itopia deployment spinning up those roles in your Google Cloud project, it's automated, but itopia is doing that. In WVD, it's just provided to you as a service instead. It's the same, virtually the same functionality. It's just delivered a slightly different way. And in terms of security, I would say it's virtually the same. In terms of the security of Azure versus Google Cloud, obviously we believe Google Cloud is superior, but on a deeply technical level, I think I'd want to bring in one of our customer engineers to talk further with you about that to make sure we can answer your specific security questions. But I hope that gives you a good overview of the comparison between WVD and RDS in terms of security.
Thanks for that answer, Alex. Final question that we have here is, can you tell us a little bit more about what an itopia environment looks like?
Sure. So with itopia, it's, again, spinning up an RDS environment in Google Cloud. And this could be either dedicated VMs for your end users. So workers could either get their own virtual machine and all the resources associated with that, or we can do multi-user sessions where multiple users are sharing the resources of one VM. And a lot of times we do set it up that way, or we recommend that you set it up that way. Well, again, itopia is software that you would be using to deploy for your own workforce. So we recommend that you would use multi-user sessions because a lot of times there's great efficiencies found from sharing resources across multiple users on one VM. Depending on the applications they're using and the uptime of those workers, it makes a lot of sense to have multi-user VMs. So, I think it was the question in comparison to anything else, or is it just what itopia does? Alex.
Great. Thank you very much for those answers, Alex. If you have any further questions or wish to speak with our sales or technical team, feel free to send me an email or inquire on our website. We're here to help in every capacity that we can. That just about wraps things up for today. Thank you, everyone, for taking the time to listen to us, and stay safe and healthy. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks,
Thank
guys.
you.
Thank you, everybody.